Good morning, welcome. I have myself set up. It's taken me ages, and this is the very best that I can do. So we're going to have a brief little half-hour class. We're going to build on what we did last week. You need to have your belts, brick of some sort or a book, and I do have a little stool as well, but you can use a chair, doesn't matter. So let's come seated into cross legs and lift up through the spine. Again, make sure your knees are in line with your hips. If they're lifting up high, you need to put yourself up onto higher height. Stretch out through the arms, breathe. Inhale, and then as you exhale, bring the hands together. Thumbs in line with the chest, fingers slightly angled forwards, and feel that the hands are pressing completely together. And then when you're ready, allow the eyes to close from top to bottom. And just take a few normal inhalations and exhalations. Bring your awareness into the body and into the breath. Allow your mind to start to become quiet. And become aware of your sit bones against your blanket. And then lift and extend all the way up through the spine, along the back of the neck, and then out through the crown of the head. And press the hands evenly together. Feel that you make contact with the heels of the hands, centre of the hands, fingers, thumbs. And draw the shoulders down from the ears, draw the elbows towards the ground, and let go of any tension from the neck, the throat, the back of the head, and see that the face is relaxed. Soften the jaw, and allow your gaze to move inwards, and observe the inhalation and the exhalation. You can say to yourself in your own mind as you breathe in, and breathing in, and as you breathe out, and breathing out. Allow the breath to keep you anchored in the present. And then slowly release your head down towards your chest, but keep your spine lifted. And bow your head down towards your heart. And then release the back of the hands down towards the thighs. And in your next inhalation, slowly lifting the head and then opening the eyes towards the ground. Good. So we're going to change the cross in our legs because we'll always go to the place that feels most comfortable. So it's just a habit. So just change the cross on the legs to change things up. Again, lift up through the spine, stretch out through your right arm. So you're extending fully. I want you to have a look at the elbow, see that the elbow is straight and extend outwards. And then lift all the way up. Take your left hand to the inside edge of that armpit and use it to encourage the arm to lift upwards. So you're not pushing back, but you're lengthening the skin up towards the elbow. And breathe. And then release and come back down. Stretch out through the left arm. Again, see your elbow is straight, shoulder down, and then inhale, lift up. Take the right hand to the inside edge of that arm and lift upwards. Encourage the skin up along the arm and breathe. And then release and bring the hands down. So take your belt. You can be using a trouser belt, doesn't matter if you have a yoga belt, grand. It's the width of the inner chest, so the inner armpit. And then I'm going to take the belt onto the elbow joint. If you have really tight shoulders or if you have very big shoulders, this is going to feel, don't be strangled. Take it a little bit broader because otherwise you're just going to end up really tightening the neck. So you don't want to feel that. Press it into the belt. It must also be tight enough that you do get a press into it though. Press out through the belt and then inhale and lift up and stretch and lengthen. Don't let the head jam forwards, but lift up. See that the palms of the hands are extending and the knees are releasing down. And breathe, keep the neck and the throat soft. And then release the hands down. And then we're going to change it to halfway between the elbows and the wrists. And just see what the difference is. It'll be easier in your head anyway. You won't be like headbutting yourself. Push it into the belt and then inhale and lift up. Now if you have very tight shoulders, you might find that when you lift up, your hands do this. So you can take your book and you can hold it and lift upwards. Just to keep the arms working, like so. And lift up. release and come back down. So we're going to come into downward dog. A variation, an easy one to start off with, because if your legs are feeling tight, our hamstrings are feeling tight, you don't want to go straight up into it too much. My hands are going to be like this, they're going to be angled. Don't know if you can see that. Thumb and first finger go in towards the wall, so I'm using the wall as a prop. So I'm taking my hands the width of my mat, and I'm taking my feet the width of my mat. My knees are going to be back underneath my hips. And I'm pushing my hands away from the wall. I'm spreading all my fingers and seeing that I'm making contact with the hand and the fingers into the ground. And then I tuck the toes under and I lift all the way up, nice and high, so as if I'm in a really high pair of shoes. I'm lifting upwards, lifting my sit bones up towards the ceiling, and then I'm taking my heels down towards the ground. They don't need to go to the ground. And I'm pressing backwards. I'm pushing away from the wall. Can look forwards. Just get the upper back to move nicely in, and then let the head release and press backwards. Stretch out those hamstrings and breathe and stay there. And then slowly release and come back down. Good. So that's your shoulders a little bit warmed up, hamstrings a little bit warmed up. So we're going to take ourselves up to standing. Now, two things. A couple of people said to me that they've been having like achy lower backs, and somebody was saying they have problems with their knees because they hyperextend their knees. So the two ways we're going to work with these issues is, one, we're going to take our foot to the wall, which will really help and support that lower part of the back and the hips. If you have hyperextended knees, you need to use a brick, and it goes to the back of the calf muscle, like so that you can't push back into that knee joint. So if you have hyperextending knees, you need one of these. For everybody, you're making sure that your heel is in line with the arch of the back foot. When you've turned, you've rotated from the inner thigh, so the kneecap faces over the foot, and that is really important for everybody's knees. The back foot presses into the wall, my arch is lifting, my inner ankle is lifting, and I'm lifting, extending through the spine. We're going to keep our left hand on our hip, stretch out through the right arm. Inhale, lift your toes on your front foot. Inhale, as you exhale, you're going to extend and lengthen, and take your hand down onto the shin bone. This hand, the left hand, we're going to take it around the back and place it onto the middle of the lower back, the sacrum. So if you're in this position, leaning forwards, you just move your hand up the leg. So let's all just move our hand up our leg and just feel what that does to ourselves. And see how much more you can open up the chest to the front, because your chest should be facing forwards. Keep pressing into that back leg, keep breathing, opening up the top shoulder, and then stretch and lift and extend all the way up into that top arm, and breathe. And then inhale and come back up. Turn the feet forwards. We're going to go the opposite way. You're going to have to imagine I have another wall up my back foot, because otherwise I'll have my back to you, which actually isn't a bad thing. I'll show it to you from the back. So let's all do the other side together. So your right foot goes into the wall, and you turn the same thing. You rotate the whole of the front leg around. Kneecap is in line with the front foot, and then you see that your back foot is pressing strongly into that wall. Stretch out through the front arm. Inhale, as you exhale, you extend and lengthen out over that front leg. Now, if you're leaning forwards, this is what you'll do on the back. So it's handy actually to see it from the back. Your butt will be sticking out. So you don't want that. You want that to be drawn in. So just by moving the hand slightly up the leg, you'll be able to get that action of moving the buttock bone forwards. And then take your hands. Take it onto the middle of the lower part of the back, and breathe, push into the back leg, lift the toes on the front foot, and then lift that top arm up, extending out through the crown of the head and lifting up through the top arm, and breathing. And then inhale and go back up, and turn back to the front. So we're going to come to the wall again. We did this last week. You you're going to take your hands to the wall, hip height, and then you're going to walk back to 90 degrees. So you're in this position, you're pressing the heels of the hands into the wall, and you want to have your hips and your ankles in line with each other. So you're not in this position, or the feet aren't back at an angle. They're at 90 degrees. You're looking forwards, and you're pushing the heels and the hands into the wall, and lengthening the hips back, and breathing. And then release and walk forwards. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our right foot, I don't know if you can see that, and I'm going to curl the toes up along that wall, and I'm going to go back nice and deep with my back leg. So I'm bringing this right knee down so it's over the right heel, and I've got my fingertips to the wall. And then I'm going to see, can I place that back heel back down onto the ground? And I'm lifting up through the spine. So I'm pushing away from the wall. I'm not leaning into the wall. I'm pressing away from the wall, coming into Virabhadrasana 1, lifting the chest upwards and breathing. So where you should feel it is here, nothing in the lower back. If you're feeling in the lower back, let your back heel lift, lengthen the tailbone, and then lift the front of the torso up and breathe. And then release, step the feet back together, and we'll go to the other side. So curl the toes up again along the skirting board, step back, nice and long with that back leg. Bend your front knee down to 90 degrees, the back heel is lifted, and I'm taking my tailbone in. So I'm not letting my tailbone kick out and my chest leaning towards the wall. I want to keep my shoulders and my hips in line with each other. And then from there, I spin the back heel down and lift the chest upwards and breathe. So keep pressing the hands away from the wall. And then inhale and come back up. And then bring the feet together. So, we're again going to come into this position here at the wall. We're going to come into a little bit of a balancing pose. Virabhadrasana 1. So our hands are Virabhadrasana 3. Warrior pose 3. Hands are like so, you're stretching back. And your feet are going to be together now this time. And you're pushing your hips back. Extending and lengthening, pushing the hands away, keeping the elbows straight, and then you're going to take your right toe back, and you're just going to keep the toe on the ground, and you're really going to focus on that left leg. Keep the outer left hip squeezed in. Don't lean out into your left hip, and you'll notice what's happening in your hands. See that the weight is even in both your hands. You're not leaning out into your left hand. So push evenly away with the wall, and then lift the back leg up and breathe. Extend and lengthen. Push through the hands and press out through the back heel. The toes are pointing down, so the leg's not turned out, the toe is down. And then release and come back down. And then we'll do the other side. So push back, like so. And then again, take the right leg back. And then lift that back leg up. Again, don't let the standing leg, keep this outer hip squeezed in. Don't lean out into this hip. Don't lean into this hand. Keep the weight even. Push back. Press out through that back heel. And breathe. And then release. And come back down. Walk yourself in towards the wall. And just let the head rest. Good. So, we're going to bring ourselves down onto the ground. And what we're going to do here is we're going to just lie down onto the front of our torsos, like so. You may need a belt for this. So you're going to lie down, and you can either have your head resting, like so, or you can be propped up on the elbow. So the elbow is underneath the shoulder, the hand is pressing down. And we're going to roll over onto our hip because I find it much easier for everybody. You're going to catch your back foot, you're going to pull that knee back, and then you're going to roll back around and hold. And press the whole of the outer edge of that hip down into the ground. and keep the chest lifted. So, as I said, you can be on the ground like so, or you can be lifted up. If you can't reach the foot, you use your belts, like so, or if you have a knee injury, and then you draw that foot in and down towards the outside edge of the hip. Keep lifting the chest upwards. And then release. We'll do the other side. So again, you roll over, you catch, stretch the knee back, and then come back around, lift the chest upwards, breathe, and then see, can you draw the outside edge of that foot down? Doesn't matter where it goes to, just go to wherever is comfortable. And then release. And it's probably not going to be comfortable because it's a serious stretch on the front of your quads. So you only go as far as, like, you've got to judge what's right for you, what's not right for you. I've just tangled myself up with the belts. So, we're going to come down into a lying position, like so. And what I want you to really be aware of is your ribs. So that your ribs are not flaring out and you're really arched in your lower back, but that your rib cage is moving in and down towards the tips of your pelvis. So you've got this connection in the belly area. And then you're going to draw the knees in towards the chest, one at a time. You're using your belt. You can hold here like so. Very nice for the lower back. Just feel the release onto the lower back. And then take the belt around the arch of the feet. And we're going to lift the legs up to 90 degrees. So again, the same idea. My heels or my hips are in line with each other. And I'm holding. Now, if you have very tight hamstrings, this is not going to feel very comfortable. A way to get over or to help those hamstrings is if you have a blanket and you just have it underneath that lower part of your back, the sit bones really, underneath the buttocks. And that little bit of a lift can just aid you to get into your hamstrings, and you can stay there like that. If you don't have tight hamstrings and you can manage this, you stay here, and then we're going to take the hands away, and then we're going to hold. So we're holding and we're feeling that the rib cage, the tips of the ribs, the floating ribs are moving down towards the hip sockets. So I'm not flaring, not in my lumbar, I've got length on my lower part of the back, and I'm really using my core and my legs to maintain this. Soles of the feet are flat towards the ceiling, and I'm pressing out through the heels, and I'm breathing and holding. If this feels okay for you and you're not struggling at all, it's manageable, you can take your arms over your head and breathe. And then release, and take the hands back down, and take the feet down. So then you're going to come up to seated, and the same idea is that if you have very tight hamstrings, you've tight groins, you know who you are, you are going to need to sit on a lift. Yeah, you're going to have something underneath the sit bones, otherwise you're just going to feel gripped into the front of the groins. So we're like this, or you can be seated onto the mat. You're lifting the spine upwards, you're breathing. I tried to do this in the last one and it got cut out, so hopefully I won't get cut out this time. You're lifting the leg up, you're taking the arms away, you're holding. Your rib cage is moving down towards your belly. It's not flaring. And breathe, hold, and then release, and lift up the opposite leg, and extend, and hold, and then release, and then see, can you lift both legs up, and hold, and then release, and come back down. So, we're going to stretch out both legs, and definitely let's all sit on something. So sit onto a blanket. Tighter the hamstrings are, the higher you go. It's much easier. Again, if you have hyperextended backs of the knees, put a blanket in underneath here so you're not pushing the knees down towards the ground. You're pushing it through the heels. You're going to take your belt. You're going to put the belt around the arch of the feet, like so. And you're going to hold and lift up through the spine. And breathe. And keep lifting and extending. Shoulders down and lift the chest upwards. And then release and come back out. So, we're going to sit again. Just going to go forwards. You're sitting onto your blanket. You're stretching up through the spine. And then you're going to bend in one knee and you're going to extend out through the opposite leg. And you're holding around the head of the shin bone. And you're lifting the chest upwards and breathing. And then you're going to stretch again up through that arm. Inhale, and then exhale, you're taking the elbow down to the inside of that knee. So I'm making contact between the upper arm and the knee, and pushing the knee into the upper arm and pushing the upper arm into the knee. Taking the opposite hand behind. I'm lifting up through the spine, inhaling, and then as I exhale, I'm rotating and turning the torso to face towards that wall. And breathe, keep extending it through the leg and ground, don't let the foot fall out to the side. And then lastly, turn the head to look out over the back shoulder. And then release, come back through to the centre, switch legs, drawing the opposite knee, lift the chest upwards. So you see I'm holding onto the front of the kneecap and lifting up, stretch up through that top arm. Inhale and then exhale the arm down, so the arm's the inside of the knee. Push the arm into the knee, push the knee into the arm. Take the opposite hand behind, lift up through the spine and rotate and turn. Breathe and turn the head to look out over the back shoulder. And then release. So, cross the legs. This may not be comfortable for everyone to do to the floor. So if it's not, you have a chair in front of you, you extend forwards like so. So you're just stretching forwards with the legs bent in cross-legged. If it feels okay, you can take your hands down towards the ground. If you're on a brick, even better. Let your head rest and breathe. And then inhale and come back up. If you're using the chair, you can extend, cross your arms and let your head rest on the chair. So it's very comfortable. And then inhale, come back up. Again, change crossing the legs. Chair back in. Stretch forwards. Change how you stacked your arms. And again, let your head rest. And then inhale and come back up. So, well done. I think that'll be just about half an hour. So we'll just finish up with Shavasana. The most important part of yoga is our relaxation, and particularly right now when everything is so uncertain, a little bit of relaxation is good for all of us. So sit into the middle of your mat, roll yourself back down, dig the elbows into the ground, really roll the shoulders under, lift the hips up, lengthen the lower part of the back. Take the arms out to the side, extend out fully through one leg, and then extend out fully through the opposite leg. And then when you fully stretch the backs of the legs, just allow the feet to fall out through to the sides. Close the eyes and just allow the body to release. So allow the feet to fall out to the sides, relax around the calves, the shins, backs of the knees, front of the knees, sides of the knees. And then relax the lower part of the back. Relax the lower part of the thighs. Relax the front of the thighs. And then let go of any tension from the hips. Relax the buttocks, groins, and let go of any tension in the lower parts of the back. Move up along the spine, releasing the shoulders, the backs of the shoulders and the base of the neck. And soften the belly, the ribs and the chest. And let go of any tension from the collarbones. release the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, backs of the hands, palms of the hands, fingers. And then just let go of any tension from the back of the head. Relax the face, the forehead, around each one of the eyes, the cheeks and the mouth. See the jaw soft, tongue resting in the lower part of the mouth. And just feel that your gaze can drop down to the centre of the torso. And from there, connect to your inhalation and your exhalation. Again, as you breathe in, say to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. As I breathe out, I know I'm breathing out. And allow your breath to keep you within the present moment. And breathe. If the mind wanders to the past or to the future, just bring yourself back to that inhalation and exhalation, to the present moment, which is all we know. And then slowly bring your awareness to the surface of the body. Gently bring some movement to the fingers and the toes. Bend in your legs one at a time. Roll over onto the side. Let your head rest on your arm. And gently allow your eyes to open towards the ground. Press the top hand into the floor. Inhale. Bring yourself up to seated. Bring yourself back into cross-legged position. Well done. Thank you very much. Namaste.